Doing subtle but stunning makeup is the hardest to do. We all know how to slap on some mascara and lip gloss as we're running out the door to pick up our kids. We know how to do the full 2-hour glam with the cut crease, the contouring, the baking, but doing something in the middle is actually really tricky. I don't know about you guys, but once I sit down to do my makeup, I keep adding to it and I can't stop. And before you know it, I'm Tammy Faye Baker, ready to take on the day. It's hard for me to figure out how to do something that's in between. So that's what I'm gonna show you guys today, is how to do this look that is very chic, it's elegant, it's subtle, but stunning. I'm gonna walk you through every step. This is not a 5-minute makeup, you all. It takes some steps to do, but I'm gonna walk you through it to show you how exactly to create a subtle yet stunning makeup look. So the first step to flawless yet subtle makeup is to evaluate your skin and do great skin prep. Our skin changes from season to season. Sometimes I'm dry, sometimes I'm oily. So every time when I sit down to do my makeup, I take a second, I evaluate it. Do I look oily in some parts? Am I dry? What do I need to prep my skin with? My lips today are parched, you all. So I'm gonna put on a hydrating balm. This is the K Skin. I bought this at Sephora because one of the reps there had told me about it and she personally loved it. And it's actually a really good hydrating balm. So I'm gonna put that on. None of this video is sponsored, by the way. And I will list everything I'm using in the description box below because I might not mention every single product. I don't want it to feel like a big ad going on in here. Okay, my skin's a little oily here and on my forehead, so I'm actually gonna put down a little bit of powder. I'm using, you guys know I like the One Size Beauty one. And I'm just gonna take these cheap sponges I get from Amazon and pick up a little bit. We're gonna use this as a primer because the foundation I'm gonna put on top is a very dewy one. So if I have any oily spots on my skin, I have to put powder down first, or I'm gonna look like a greasy chicken wing. So pat some powder on here. And do you see how that's mattifying the skin a little bit? I just want a touch of powder. Don't put too much or it's gonna cake up your foundation. And my lids are a little oily too, so I'm gonna put some powder here. Now let's correct the skin. So I have some dark circles going on here. I know my lights are kind of bright so they don't look dark on camera, but in person, they are barking. I'm gonna put on a peach color corrector. Peach and orange colors always counteract blueness under the eyes, so that's why I use that color to correct with. And then I'm just gonna use my Anissa concealer brush and buff this out. And I take what's left on the brush and put it around my nose because I have a little redness here, so I want some extra coverage, and on my chin. Now it's time to apply foundation. You all use whatever foundation you want. I'm personally today, you're gonna be shocked, you guys, because I'm not using my NARS Sheer Glow. Are we shocked? Are you all sitting down? I'm gonna use the Dior Capture Total because on days where I wanna look very flawless and put together, I like the coverage of this because it looks like skin. It's not cakey or thick. The only thing that sucks about this is there's not enough colors. They only have 10 or 12 colors, so I'm hoping they expand that. But I take the Anissa Pinnacle Foundation brush and I put a pump on there. But again, you guys use what foundation you like. And I'm just gonna buff this into the skin. Okay, so this is looking just a little bit light for me today. I don't know if you guys can see my chest and my face. Okay, so then I am gonna actually mix it in with my NARS Sheer Glow. I lied, you guys, because I've got a darker color of this one. So I'm gonna put one pump of that on there. We'll mix the finishes of these. These both are dewy finish, so it'll give me the same effect, but I really want it to look like skin. Do you see that kind of sheen going on here? It's not cakey, it's not matte, it just looks like fresh, dewy skin. So do you guys see how I'm mixing it? Here's the NARS a little bit darker, here's the Dior Skin Glow. Can you guys see the difference? So anytime you have a color that's too light, too dark for you, have another foundation, just mix them. And this is a thin viscosity formula, so I like using a buffing brush. And the technique I'm applying this, I'm really just buffing this into the skin because I want it to look flawless and seamless. Now that you have a thin layer of foundation on, then you can go in and say, okay, what do I need to spot cover on? A lot of people at this step, they'll start putting a second layer of foundation all over their face. Stop it, one. Don't put 2 layers on. Just take a concealer and spot only the areas that you need it because you don't want a thick layer of product on your face. So for me, I usually have a little extra redness here on the side of my nose. So I put a little concealer here, and then my chin, I always get a little redness there, and then my nose gets red. So that's kind of my discoloration spots I like to cover. Then I go in with a beauty blender like this, and I just gently tap it on. And I try not to come out here on the cheekbone because you see that glow right there? I don't want to get rid of that. I just want to even out my complexion only where I need it. Now it's time to set it. Again, light layers of powder. We're not baking, we're not caking, we're not doing any of that, you all. So I take a loose powder, again, the One Size Beauty, same cheap sponge from Amazon, $6 for a big old packet, you guys. And I take it on there. That's too much. Scrape, 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 scrape. That's better. You see, that's a light layer. And then I'm only gonna put in here on the T-zone because that's where I get oily. I just want to lock this down. We're gonna set this all with a setting spray anyways. I just want to get rid of any shine where I don't want it. Little on the chin too. And then don't forget the eyelids, you all. I always do this. It's gonna help prep the eyes when I go to put shadow down on top. It's gonna lock that oil out so it doesn't break down your shadows. Do you see those cheekbones? It still has a little bit of a sheen to it. I didn't put powder out there. Now it's time to add some color in the face, warm it up, bronze it up just a little bit, but we're gonna go light-handed. So I'm gonna use a big brush, which seems kind of crazy because a lot of people may think of big brushes, they think it's gonna be sloppy. This is gonna give me a very diffused finish with my bronzers. I'm taking the Makeup by Mario bronzer. This is the color medium and the Rose and Ben brush number, what number is this? C41. Let me show you why I use such a big brush. It's got an angle to it so I can get around the forehead. I just want a slight bit of color just to add dimension and warmth. Do you guys see how it's giving such a soft diffused look because it's such a big brush so it's not depositing a lot of color? And then the same thing under the cheekbones. I'm gonna start under here, kind of where that cheekbone is, almost like your finger, you feel right under that bone, and bring it up because we want to bronze up, not down. Do you see how it's changing the shape of my face too? It's giving me cheekbones right here. On this side, it's not. It's giving dimension. Now it's time for blush. I'm gonna use a cream blush. This is the one by Tower. It's Magic Hour. Take your finger. We're gonna dab this on. Now this is important with cream blushes because if you start swiping it, it's gonna pick up the foundation. It's not gonna give you a flawless finish. You have to pat it. Getting very aggressive and passionate about this. Sorry. Had too much coffee today. Okay. You hear that tapping motion, you all? This is how we're applying it. If you start swiping it again, it's gonna pick up your foundation underneath. But I like doing this for subtle makeup because again, it looks like skin. Let me show you guys what it looks like. Do you see that? It just gives you the slightest bit of color. Okay, on camera, this is looking a little muddy. Here in person, it's not, but let me show you all what you can do. See that foundation brush earlier? If you need to blend that in a little bit more, you can just start tapping it out right there to kind of get it to soften up. Do you see how that just gives me a soft, subtle shine? Really quick placement of blush. If you have a very chiseled kind of thin face and you really want to soften the edges of it and round it out, apply it here on the cheeks, on the apples of the cheeks like this. If you're like me and as we start to get older, I feel like I need to lift my face more, I'm going to apply it back higher up here, and adding that color is going to lift the face versus making it look more round, if that makes sense. Placement matters. And then last bit of shine for the cheeks. This is optional if you want to add this or not. I do want to highlight just a little bit. I'm going to use this RCMA cream highlighters. It's so beautiful, you all, and the formula is Chef's Kiss. This is a pro brand. Do you see that shine? Let me show you what it looks like. Again, bought these with my own money, but look how pretty that is. It just gives such a natural sheen to the skin. This is the color Daybreak. Same thing with the finger, and I'm just gonna put it up high on top of the cheekbone just to emphasize that glow a little bit more. Our goal in this subtle makeup is everything to look like your skin, but better. Like I just drank my full 8 glasses of water a day and I exercised and I did my sauna and yoga, when in reality I drank coffee all day instead of water, so I'm dehydrated. We're gonna fake the fact that I'm glowing. Do you all see that? Look at that glow, it's so pretty. All right, now it's time for the brow. So I'm gonna use the Goof Proof pencil by Benefit. It's an amazing brow pencil because it's very natural. It just gives subtle hair strokes in there and the color's perfect. It's not too warm. So I'm gonna fill in the brows with this. I know it's super trendy right now to do the feathered brows and all of that. I'm honestly just trying to get a very subtle filled in brow. I'm not necessarily trying to be trendy in this video, if that makes sense. Like I want to look back at pictures of myself in this makeup 10 years from now and be like, oh, what time was this? What year was this? How old was I then? So just fill in the brows whatever you need. This is the color number 3. Okay, now for the eyes. I've showed you all this trick before, but it's the cream eyeshadow stick, whatever color that you want. I'm gonna use a black, but if you have light features, go for a brown, and a small pencil brush like this, a little round guy right there. We're gonna pick up the cream shadow here, and all I'm doing is using this to darken the lash line on the outer corner. So I'm gonna put it right here, very softly, and I'm gonna wing it up just a little bit. Stop halfway, don't come all the way in. I'm doing this step to thicken my lashes and to lift the outer eyes. Jeez, Lexi is really snoring. Do you guys hear her? She sounds like a freight train. Oh my Okay, do you all see that shape right there? Look at the difference between this eye and this eye. It's just changing the shape of my eye, and it's making my lashes look thick, and I haven't even put mascara on yet. Now you're gonna grab your eyeshadow palette. I'm gonna use the Natasha Nonona one in the nude. I need a nude. You guys use what you have. And I'm going in with a fluffy brush like this. If you have smaller eyes, get something smaller. Just something that's dome shaped that you can dust across the lid. I'm gonna go in with a shade that's about 3 to 4 shades darker than my skin tone. If you have fair skin, I would go in with something in here. If you have deep skin, go in with something like this. But anything that's a few shades darker than your skin, any tone will work. I'm just adding this to the outer part of the eye and dusting it up in the crease to add dimension. That's all we're doing. We want it to be subtle like that. You can dust it over that black base we put on earlier if you want. You can go in with a lighter color to blend up under the brow just to soften this. Do you see how everything I'm doing, it's very soft and diffused. That's why I'm using a kind of bigger dome shaped brush. If you feel like it's still not blending in here, I'm cheating, you guys. I'm using a Makeup Geek shadow. It's Creme Brulee. That's my go-to for the crease. But do you see the tones? If I need to blend it out, it's a little bit darker than my skin by just a bit. I use it as a transition shade to just soften this out a little. I don't want there to be any harsh lines anywhere. Now I have some space under my lower lash line to darken it a little bit too. So I'm going to switch to a dome brush like this and go in with that same color and just smudge it under the lower lash line. A lot of people skip this step thinking it's going to make their eyes look smaller, but it's actually not. It does the opposite. It makes your eyes look bigger. Look at this eye versus this one. It just kind of defines everything and helps the lash line pop. Then to go back to that original brush, wipe it off really well. This color sheen right here. Do you see how it's a very soft shimmer? Don't use a metallic. Don't use anything super sparkly. Just a soft shimmer. Just something that's very light. I'm putting this on the center part of the eye, mainly to brighten it. Just to make my eyes look more awake and open. So we can pretend that I slept all night, even though my toddler wakes me up every morning at 2 a.m. Mama is tired. But you won't know after I put this eyeshadow on because it'll look like I'm fresh awake and like I slept all night when I didn't. Okay, the last step for the eyes, I know this feels like a lot of steps, you guys. I told you this wasn't 5-minute makeup, is to take the skinniest little brush you can get. This is a MAC 212. I've had this for years. Do you see? Skinny, skinny, skinny. And we're gonna take that dark brown shadow here. If you have deeper skin, you want to use a black shadow, something that is fairly dark, to just press it along the lash line. Don't trace it along all of that smudge that we did. We're literally just along the lash line, placing it to darken the lashes and give the illusion that your lashes are thick. It's subtle. Do you guys see the difference between this eye and this eye? My lashes look thicker. Okay, now curl your lashes. This is important. It opens your eyes. Look at that eye and this eye. Now put on your mascara. I'm using the Dior Show. Now my trick for this, you want most of the color to be at the base. So I put it right at the base of that lash. Swiggle, sweep, swiggle, sweep. The trick to having subtle but thick lashes is for most of the color and product to be at the base, and then it feathers as it goes up to the tip of the lash. We're not trying to do the spider lashes in this look. Now, if you have an extra 5 minutes, you can drop in a few trio lashes like this. This is the Kiss ones, and I don't know if you guys can see the difference between this eye and this eye. I put 3 little clusters just on the outer corner of the eye. You just put some glue down, pick one off, dip it in the glue, and then just put it right on that lash line. But just on the outer corner, don't come all the way in. Now we can do the lips. My lips are hydrated because I let that mask on, and I just have a clean towel. I wipe them off. I always get like this sweat mark right here, you guys. It's so annoying. I'm like, what is going on? That happens. The same sponge we used earlier, a little pressed powder, kind of dab it on. I don't know what's going on. And if you're getting just a touch oily in here, you can just put one last little bit of powder down, kind of lock it in. If you were younger and you don't need lip liner, don't feel like you have to wear it. But as I've gotten older, I've lost my lip definition. I don't know what the heck is going on, so I have to wear lip liner. So I use a nude color. Makeup forever, wherever, walnut. That's a mouthful. Let me show you the color. It's like a nudie pink. So I'm just gonna line the lips. Now we can apply a lipstick. You all know I love these Sephora ones because it's a glossy formula. It's almost like a lipstick and lip gloss combined. Let me show you the finish of it. So this is the color range from fair up to deep that you should choose. Something that's, if you have fair skin, go for like a nudish color that has either a warm or a peach undertones. It's not too neutral. You need a little bit of color in there. If you have caramel skin, try to choose like a warm rosy pink color. If you have deep skin, like a muted berry or kind of a plummy brown color. So this is 2222A. That's all it says on the bottom of my tube, you all. They suck at naming. but this is what it looks like. And if it has too much shine, you can go in with that towel, kind of pat it down. So that's what it looks like. Let me zoom out so you all can see. Whoop, wrong direction, wrong direction. You see how it's subtle, but it still looks flawless. It looks stunning. It just looks like I'm put together, like I'm ready to go to a professional meeting, go out on a very elegant date. That's the vibe that we're trying to go for. So one last little bit too. If you feel like your cheeks need a little bit more color, as I've gotten older, I feel like I need a little bit more color. You can use a little bit brighter blush. Let me show you what it looks like. Here's the color here. Again, I'm only doing this because as I've gotten older, I feel like my face needs a little more color here, but it's up to you all if that's not subtle enough for you to add a little bit of color to the cheeks. Do you see how it kind of livens up my face a little bit? Let me do it on this side. That's optional, depending on what you consider subtle or not. And then the last step that's really important to lock it down, because we have a lot of creams and cream highlighters going on the face, we don't want it slipping around, is to lock it with a setting spray using the Melanie Mills Hollywood setting spray. I already did my chest. You guys know how I roll with that. So just mist it up. I almost inhaled it right there. I almost choked on it. Just don't breathe while you're putting it on, guys. And what that does is this locks in the makeup, and this will last all day. I'll keep this look literally for 16 hours if I spray a full layer of that setting spray. So hopefully that helps you all figure out how to look subtle but stunning and elegant. Don't forget to subscribe. Snoring Lexi here has asked you if you like this video. Don't forget to subscribe, like this video. Have a great one, you guys. Let me know in the comments below what tutorial you want to see next, and I will see you next week. Bye.